All right, I would like to now welcome Lijin up on screen, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Renee, and good afternoon, everyone. In order for us to understand the reason why this is so important for companies to deal with, is because the purpose of disclosure is really to actually allow investors to get information about your company's financial position, financial performance, and prospects. Why? Because they need to make a decision on whether to provide you with the capital resources that you need. Okay. And the whole thing about disclosure, even financial disclosure, actually came from the 1929 global market crash, where people finally realized or could see, how when capital is not put in the right way to the right places, it can actually have a big disastrous effect on social economic well-being. A lot of people went bankrupt, right? A lot of people lost their life savings. People lost their jobs. Investors were scared to even put more money forward because they may not get back the money that they put in, right? So imagine if you as a retail investor, not even talking about institutional investors, but you as just an individual investing, would you want your money that you're maybe putting in to invest for your pension, or later maybe you want to use it to pay for something in your family, actually just got lost in an instant because people actually put the money, simply didn't manage the companies that were supposed to give you returns, or they didn't even think about the risks that would actually cause your money to not come back to you, and it just all got lost. Investors are actually looking for a way to better judge the performance of the investments, the upside. They want to increase the amount that can come back to them after putting aside some money for a period of time. They also want to understand the downside risk, and they also want to reduce the mispricing, where they're not paying more than they actually need. And sustainability has really jumped into the forefront of their considerations, because there is a lot of risk that is already materializing. One thing that you have to pay attention to is the changing trends in the technical barriers to trade. So if you're manufacturers and you are actually getting your products outside of your borders, there are more and more countries in the world that's increasing the regulations on products. Okay, just in 2024 alone, it reached its new high. Right, there was a new high of notifications for technical regulations and conformity assessments procedures that manufacturers needed to comply with before their product can even enter the market. And these barriers to trade is actually really important to protect so-called the people within those countries, and make sure that the food or the products aren't full of toxins or chemicals or things that can harm life coming into the market, right? Or things that, they can't handle in that market, be it from an infrastructure perspective or technical perspective. Now, this carbon border adjustment mechanism basically tries to balance that, right? To say that those products that's produced overseas should also be paying for the carbon, following the carbon prices in the European market. Now, they have already moved in from, just reporting transitional phase to now a system that requires financial payments. Greenwashing, there's 7 different types. It could involve like false labels, right? Or maybe it's irrelevant. Like they may be doing something good, but it's actually irrelevant to the product. Okay, so they might say, for example, this product is 100%. For example, if in the food sector, this product is 100% animal friendly. And then they realize that actually this product actually has nothing to do with animals, right? Maybe it's a plant-based, or it's a plant-related product. And therefore it's not relevant at all. So even though they may have achieved, I think, let's say, or not animal friendly, let's say 100% animal free range animal something, it's irrelevant to the product, which is plant-based. So therefore that's also considered greenwashing. It could also be vague language. It could also be that they have no proof or not enough proof. It's like data for just 1 year is not considered to be proof. It needs to go back many years as well, at least 18 months to 24 months. There could be hidden trade-offs. There could be lesser of two evils. So there are many ways that you could get into greenwashing. So for example, let's say a hidden trade-off. Maybe there's a CSR project that's used improperly, right? The company says, okay, I can provide water pumps to communities to pump out underground water. Improves the water access to these companies. But what they didn't say was that because they provided so many water pumps to a location where the underground water could not sustain it, what they did was actually deplete the water that was underground. The soils, as a result, became more salty. And as a result, the crops in that area actually failed in the long term because they pumped out so much water from underground, right? So while there may be a short-term sort of gain or improvement in, let's say, the access to clean water, it actually caused a longer-term problem whereby that location now has crop failures and very salty soils that is very difficult for them to do any further production. So that's when you have a sort of hidden trade-off that the company didn't talk about in their pursuit of the so-called ESG effort. Another misconception that people have is that your country needs to have a greenwashing law before the authorities can take action on you. This is a myth. It is not true, okay? We have seen many examples across the world whereby different laws, existing laws, have actually been used to sue companies or penalize companies for greenwashing. And this includes advertising laws, market authority related laws, consumer protection laws, financial conduct authorities for the financial sectors, trademark laws, as well as competition authorities as well. Just to give you an example, this is one that came from China, okay? They have actually clamped down on trademark using trademark laws, whereby if your trademark has anything that says green or organic or natural, nature, high nature, these things were actually considered greenwashing because it was raised on the grounds that it was deceptive in nature and may mislead the public just in your logo, just in your trademark, because you may not necessarily have the data to substantiate or prove that these characteristics are real. Okay, so your logo itself is already misleading people. And this was something that came up from China. Another example was that let's look back at this one, in Italy, there was this Italian website equivalent for Shein, for fast fashion that was online. They actually were investigated for unfair business practices under the market authority, okay? In France, another fashion company called Lululemon actually was sued for misleading commercial practices. The same actually has been seen in advertising laws in the UK, where HSBC was actually, penalized for their advertisement. They had to withdraw the advertisement, make a public apology, and even pay. They were asked to pay, but then eventually cancel and things like that. About these things that claimed it made people think they were investing a lot of the funds in the bank into green projects and renewable energy, when actually the bulk of their sort of revenue was still coming in from sort of coal-based, fossil fuel-based projects that was actually not in line with their sustainability claims, right? So these were actually various examples that regulators are going for